Oh hi, this is Bob Cooke here from the Manchester Institute of Psychotherapy doing the Supervision series. We've done 1 and 2. First was about behavioural observation mode. Second, we've looked at contracts, treatment planning and interventions. And now we're moving to the third mode in the Hawkins and Shohet model, called the 7-9 model, outlined in their book, which is Supervision Helping Professions, 1989. But there's been more editions since, of course. And in this third mode we're going to look at a more systemic approach, and we're going to think about this in systems and whether the supervisee, that's the therapist, is merged in some way, or whether the client has merged with the therapist. And we're going to look at how the supervisee stroke therapist might actually move themselves out of the system. And also, as we go up through the modes, we're going to look at the transference, and particularly the transference of the client maybe in terms of projections onto the supervisee, and whether the supervisee is aware of that or not, because that might be the reason why they feel stuck or not, and why they brought this particular person to supervision. So here we go, mode 3, up the road to the transferences. Okay, turning to Rory again, really nice to see you again.
Thanks,
for our third
session.
On more transferences and counter-transferences and stuff like that. Well, not so much counter-transfers, really more here the projections of the client onto the supervisee, and how the person might be, or i.e. you in this case, role-playing it, might be stuck in the process. So, tell me a little bit more where you are in terms of this client. You got to the 5th session.
Session now, yeah. And they've still not found him. He's gone to ground.
Oh, gone to ground.
And she's gone to ground. Yeah, he don't know where he is. She's been in contact with the police, and the police say we're trying to find him, but we really don't know. Been in touch with the hostel, and the hostel haven't heard anything. And now she's kind of.
She must be really worried about it.
Worried and angry. Now it was a different change of pace this time.
Okay.
She was more angry with him.
More angry.
Why is he doing this to me? Why me? Why is he putting our family through this?
Yeah. So really querying and asking questions, and but more angry now.
Very angry. In fact, very, very angry. And at one point, it was I was a bit kind of frightened, because she really became really, really angry.
So what do you think she expected from you?
I think part of it was she wanted someone that she could vent everything to. I think she has to audit herself with her family. Okay. So I think she feels that because I'm someone that she's got no investment in terms of being
safe with me.
Yeah. So she just let it all out, and I said it's okay to be angry.
So do you think, if we look at this in transference terms, just for a moment, who do you think you might have been for her, or who do you think you are?
I think it could have been him at one point.
You could be the husband or partner.
I think I could have. No, I think I could have been the lad.
Oh, you mean you could have been the son?
The son. I could have been the son.
Worried about.
Yeah, because what she was doing is she was talking directly at me as if I was him. She was saying, why? She was saying things like, why have you done this? What have I done that has made you go down this road?
So you become the son.
I became the son.
And interesting what you just said a moment ago is that you started to feel scared.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, she wasn't violent, but she was very angry.
Very angry.
Very angry. She clenched her fists, and at one point she was banging on her. And I was empathising and reflecting back as gentle as I didn't want to provoke interaction. But I just said, when she paused for breath after one particular kind of verbal assault,
I understand that.
I said, it sounds like you're really, really angry. Really angry. At him.
Ah, so you started to differentiate.
Yes.
So to move out of the system a little bit.
Yes, absolutely, Bob.
Okay, so it's like, it sounds quite clear then, really, in a way, as you started to feel frightened yourself, you started to think, well, actually, he might be frightened as well, because he's the son.
Yes.
And he wanted to differentiate out of the system so
Yes.
she could start seeing that you aren't him.
Yes. And then it got me to thinking about, in between the sessions, when I was kind of reflecting and writing my notes up, I wonder if this is how she reacts to him and why he's avoiding her.
Yes, so that might be a good reason if you talk about the addictions
Yes.
that he wants to distract himself from.
Yes. And I'm not blaming her, but I'm saying I'm wondering if in their history, in her history, that because it was quite full on, you know, and I'm a kind of mature older guy, been around the block a few times, but I thought, wow, if I feel a little frightened here, I wonder how someone else would feel. So maybe someone who was younger, maybe a son.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's very good thinking. So if we use a metaphor moment here, which we do often in most of these, and if you were just for a moment, imagine that your client and yourself was on a desert island.
Yes.
And the ship had sailed away, so it wasn't going to come back for at least 3 days.
Yes.
Where would you actually park yourselves? Would you put up camp away from her? Would you want to be near her camp? Would you want to go and eat and have dinner with her? Would you want to go to the other side of the island to have nothing to do with her? What sort of level of relationship do you think you might have with this woman?
Well, it's interesting. If you'd asked me that in the earlier sessions, I would have said we just set up camp next to each other and
Yes, you'd have close proximity.
Close proximity. But after the last session, where she was really angry, I think I would have set up camp, but I think that I probably wouldn't have told her where my tent was at night.
So you'd have hidden away, so she couldn't find you.
She couldn't find me yet.
So you'd have almost you've gone out your way to keep away from her.
Yeah. I would have made the effort because there's only 2 of us on our island, and no one should be alone.
No.
But after that session, I would have been wary about being too close in her orbit. I would have liked her to have a bit of a walk along the island before she found my tent.
Or perhaps not even find the tent.
Yeah,
That
a good walk, and then when she got there, she might have been out of breath. And
Do you think, though? I think it's an important question. This one. Do you think that she just spent the next 3 days looking for you? So would she have ever let you go? That's what I'm saying. So it's like, was she being preoccupied in finding you at all costs?
I'm not sure is the answer. It's an interesting question. I genuinely am not sure.
But we know something. You would have tried to hide yourself.
I would have, and you know, there was part of me at that. It was only a very short, brief spurge of anger, but there was part of me that was kind of thinking, I've got to be very careful here because I could hide myself.
Yes.
Internally, I could hide myself
you
away.
You hide yourself out internally as well as externally.
And I had to kind of speak a little bit to the child in me and say, you know, Rory, hey, you're 58, you're a big guy. This woman isn't going to attack you. She's not going to attack you. She's angry at her son. She's angry at another.
So you were able in the actual this metaphor, if you like, to start using these stories. But if you take yourself off this metaphor now, and let's go back into where we were, as you reflect on the metaphor and what we were talking about a moment ago, is there anything that perhaps is new to you, or you can just start thinking? I have a few points.
Yeah, I just kind of wonder how I react to angry women.
Right, how you act.
How I react to angry women. It's not something that I've really had in my sphere. I've met a few angry men in my time, but I've never had anybody that close who was a woman who was that angry.
Right, so there's that of it. That's a really interesting one, which I'd like to pursue perhaps at another stage, but I would like to say something that came into my mind.
Okay.
That if you were the son,
yes,
we're talking about this, it may start to understand a little bit about the dynamics between the client and the son in terms of close proximity, in terms of hiding himself, in terms of maybe she was over anxious or whatever. We start to have a little bit of a focus on maybe some understanding of this process, and if if I was you, or maybe we could at least look at it like a bit more exploration maybe in the relationship between the son and the dynamics between the two of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just thinking that was really interesting, the way that panned out in the metaphor.
Yeah.
Really interesting indeed.
Yeah, I would have definitely, indeed, thinking about it, did what Son did, which was...
Yes, that's why I'm bringing it in.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You hid yourself internally.
Yeah.
Of course, the best way often to split yourself off internally is to take medication
Yeah.
of some sort, and drugs is
Yeah.
on the line now, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I've got a bit of a theory that is kind of emerging in me, if I can share it with you.
Yeah, please do.
She'd only talked briefly about her first husband, who's the father of the lad we're talking about, and she doesn't talk about him in very glowing terms. And my fantasy, if I can bring that, Bob, is that I wonder how much of her husband she sees in the son.
Ah, right. So that starts to really look at this in another mode.
Yeah.
And I can really see with the metaphor how that might have evoked you to go down that road anyway. Well, thank you, because we're going to go into the next mode soon, but that's a really interesting thought which will hold.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Thanks,
for
Bob.
that.